Hi, I'm Christopher Walker, your teacher here on Closely Observed English. In this episode of Reading Closely, we're going to be looking at a very interesting article all about managing your expectations, let's say, about life in our new situation. But before we take a look at that, I want to show you what effect is teaching online is having on me. Now, I've only had about 4 hours, 5 hours teaching online with the headphones on today, but it's horrible, isn't it? My goodness. I'm going to end up going bold, but across just there. What do you do if you go bold across just there? If you go bold on one in the middle, you can do a comb over when you grow your hair long on one side and grow it over the other. But if you go bold just there, can you do a comb over? Or am I going to have to shave it all off one day? Goodness, wouldn't that be something? So anyway, let's dive in, and we're going to look at one specific paragraph in this article. The article itself is very well written. It's by a doctor, Aisha S. Ahmad. Forgive me if I've said the name wrong. I probably have, because I'm not very good at saying these sort of names. I used to have a teacher at the school with the same name, and she always got angry with me for saying her name wrong. And I would say her name, and then she would say her name, and I would say, but it's the same. And she was like, no, it's not the same. So, Dr. Aisha, if I'm saying your name wrong, I'm very sorry. You deserve better. You have written a very, very good article here. So, this is in the Chronicle of Higher Education, and it's called Why You Should Ignore All That Coronavirus Inspired Productivity Pressure. She makes some really good points, and I really think it's worth reading. The people I've shared this with so far have really gained something from it. It is very well written and very clear in the things that it sets out. However, we're going to go straight in to one particular paragraph, and I'll bring up the annotation tool here. We're going to be looking at this paragraph just here. The reason I want to look at this paragraph is to draw your attention to some of the organizational methods used here. And now this will be of real interest to students at B2 First, C1 Advanced, and even C2 Proficiency in terms of how you stitch together a paragraph so that it's really well written. So as we always do on this, we're going to look at it first for the vocabulary, second for what we can learn, and third for the general idea. So as we say, we're talking about coping with this new reality. Maybe if I bring that a bit bigger for you, would that help? Let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah, how's that? So let's get rid of this. Let me redraw my boxes. Yeah, I'm still getting my head around all of these annotation tools and moving quickly from one to the other. So forgive me for taking a bit too long over all of this. So here we are. I'll read it. I would like you to think about which words are of most interest for the vocabulary, and we'll have a look at the ones that I pick out that I think you might be interested in. If there are any others that you'd like to look at, please leave a note in the comments below. Now more than ever, we must abandon the performative and embrace the authentic. Our essential mental shifts require humility and patience. Focus on real internal change. These human transformations will be honest, raw, ugly, hopeful, frustrated, beautiful, and divine. And they will be slower than keener academics are used to. Be slow. Let this distract you. Let it change how you think and how you see the world, because the world is our work. And so may this tragedy tear down all our faulty assumptions and give us the courage of bold new ideas. Okay, now in terms of the vocabulary, I don't think there's a huge amount that we need to look at here. I want to look at the words performative and authentic because they're quite crucial to our understanding of the opening here. Humility, I suppose. And then after that, maybe keener. But otherwise, yeah, I think this is okay. So let's take a quick look. What does it mean when we talk about the performative? Well, perform is a verb, and you do this to act, to show. So if you are performing something, you're doing it for an audience. You're not doing it for your own benefit. You're an actor showing people. So if we talk about it here, the performative actions carried out by people, then we're talking about people showing what they're doing rather than concentrating on why they're doing something. And that is where we get this idea of the authentic. So the authentic what? Authentic is an adjective, but it says the authentic, just as it says the performative. Performative is an adjective. But what are we talking about here? Well, this must be a reference back to an idea already introduced by the writer, as you will see when you come to read the text, as I'm sure you will. So these are the actions that we engage in. So for word transformation, what about authentic? How do we turn that into a noun? Well, we make it authenticity. That would be the noun from the adjective authentic. Excellent. Okay. Humility. What is humility? Well, humility is related to modesty. And it's the sense of maybe not so much celebrating your successes, but rather seeing your successes in the context in which they occur. So knowing that you are limited, knowing that you can't do everything that you want to do, being showing some humility. And actually that is a good collocation. So we could add that here, to show humility. We're always looking for these collocations when we investigate new language. Excellent. And then here we've got talking about the transformations. They will be slower than keener academics are used to. So keen is our adjective, and we often see it as a similar way of looking at eager. But there's a slight difference between keen and eager. A keen student is one who's more likely to put in the hard work that's required. An eager student might show their enthusiasm and motivation more keenly. There we go. They kind of work to build each other's ideas. I quite like when words do that sort of thing. Okay, so now that we've looked at some of the language in this wonderful paragraph, let's look at some features of organization. Okay, so I quite like this bit of ellipsis. So we must is introduced here, and then we must abandon one thing and embrace another thing. So there's a nice balance to the sentence there. And then we have an explanation for that. We don't need a linking word between the sentences here. We can go straight from this to saying our essential mental shifts require humility and patience. And again, there's no kind of glue between these two, except for the fact that there's a logical development, focus on real internal change. Then we talk a bit more. We say these human transformations. And then she gives us a list of adjectives. But there's a nice kind of balance here. So we've got honest, hopeful, beautiful, and divine. So they're positives. And then on the counterbalance, we've got raw, ugly, frustrated. So we've got, let's choose a neutral kind of color here. So we've got a positive, 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 positive. So that's 4. Negative, 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 3. So we come out with the positives on top. And that sort of balance is very nice. Notice as well that we don't just have 4 positives and 3 negatives like that. We've got a positive, 2 negatives, positive, negative, and then finish with a strong couple of positives. It's unusual to see quite so many adjectives stacked together like this. And when you do it, you can do it like this writer has done, but you need to do it logically, and you need to do it with a sense of style. And that's what this writer has in copious measures. Then we have and. to start a sentence. Notice we have and to start a sentence here. Lots of teachers advise against using and, but this is the last paragraph in a section. She's divided the article into sections, each one with a stage name like this. So this one is the end of the stage. So she wants to hit a little bit harder with the advice. And using and at the start of a sentence can do two things. First, it stands out. It shows that the previous thought was not finished yet. And it also means that you can shorten what would otherwise be long sentences. It gives each sentence a bit of room to breathe. So what we can do is imagine that that didn't happen. These human transformations will be honest, raw, ugly, hopeful, frustrated, beautiful, and divine, and they will be slower than keener academics are used to. That's a long sentence. We've got a lot going on there. If we split it, as the writer has done, it gives the first sentence time to breathe. The person reading can slow down a little bit. Okay, so far so good, and I like the way that things are linked. I like this use of because to start a sentence here. The same logic at play. Shortening the sentences makes it a little bit easier for the person reading to kind of concentrate on what's going on. And now I want to remove things for a second because I want to look at sentence lengths. So let's mark the longer sentences. Let's go. So now more than ever, we must abandon the blah, 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 blah. That's quite long. Our essential mental, let's not do it like that, shall we? Our essential mental shifts require that. So we've had two quite long sentences so far, but then suddenly, short sentence. Oh, short sentences accelerate the text. Then we've got these human transformations, long sentence. Then a slightly shorter sentence. But then look at what we've got just here. A very short sentence, 2 words, be slow. Then a slightly longer sentence, let this distract you. 4 words, 2 words, then 4 words. Think about the power of those 2 sentences. You've got a long sentence leading up to it, and then suddenly, be slow. Let this distract you. And we're building back up again. Let it change how you think and how you see the world. A sentence with 2 clauses linked by and. Then a slightly shorter one, because the world is our work. And then we go back at the end of the paragraph, we're accelerating up again, and we have one more long sentence. So when you're a student for one of the Cambridge Main Suite of exams and you're looking at boosting your organization score, this paragraph is a great model of what is possible when you really carefully choose the length of your sentences. Sometimes keep them short, sometimes make them longer. But think about what you want to achieve by choosing either a short or a long sentence. Okay, so that's everything I wanted to show you in this magnificent article. Please read it. You will feel better about the world if you do, actually. And if you're on Twitter, think about following the assistant professor here, Dr. Ahmad. Thank you to the writer for this. And that's it for this little lesson. If you've enjoyed it, please consider liking the video and think about subscribing to the channel. There will be more videos like this, these little lessons about reading closely, coming up very soon. So until next time, thank you and goodbye.